Good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm Ron Burgundy. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're reviewing the Cloud Microphones CL-1. This guy, the Cloudlifter. As always, check your screen to find the real-time information on the equipment I'm using and when I'm using it. Full disclosure, I bought this device with my own money and I am in no way affiliated with Cloud Microphones. These are my own opinions based solely on my own subjective experiences. The CL-1 is well known amongst recording engineers. We all seem to call them Cloudlifters, even when the same type of device is manufactured by companies other than Cloud Microphones. But this particular device is among the first of its kind. Cloud Microphones has a long history that goes back to the 1930s and is closely intertwined with RCA. Originally designed to amp up ribbon microphones in notoriously low output, the Cloudlifter has gone on to enjoy massive success on dynamic microphones as well, such as the SM7B. Cloud Microphones refers to their Cloudlifter as a mic booster. Other companies call them inline preamps. Here's what they do. They take the signal from a dynamic or ribbon microphone and use your preamp's phantom power to preamp it. What I mean to say is it boosts a low output signal before it hits your interface or preamp. This allows the preamp to not work as hard, and you should have a lower noise floor as a result. It boosts your mic signal. For some interfaces that are not very powerful, a Cloudlifter might be employed when recording quiet sources with a low output microphone. I'm using an SM7B here. This is a well-known low-output microphone. When recording quiet things like a podcast or something like that, the mic is so quiet that it forces you to boost some of the preamps as high as maximum, which in turn causes noise floor issues. With the Cloudlifter placed between the mic and the interface, it should have a hotter signal going into the interface, thus allowing the interface gain to be set lower. Let's have a look at it. This is a small device with 1940s font writing on it that weighs 313 grams and features no buttons or switches, just an XLR in and an XLR out. You connect your microphone to the in, and then you connect the Cloudlifter from the XLR out and then into the XLR in on your interface or preamp. Then all you have to do is switch on your phantom power and bam, it's up and running. That's it. It doesn't change the sound of your mic in any way, just a boost in gain. The measurements are, let me just grab my trusty old measuring tape here. This measuring tape was manufactured in 1974. I picked it up on a boat wreck off the coast of Amity Island in 75. Anyway, it measures 4.5 long, 2 wide, and 2 tall. Inches, of course. You too can own a Cloud Microphones Cloudlifter CL-1 for $200 Canadian or $160 US. So that's all there is to know about the CL-1. Let's try it out. Alright, so right now I'm using the SM7B. Okay, it's my favorite microphone ever, so this is the one I chose to use to do a test. It also happens to be one of the lowest output microphones that there is. I've got this currently plugged into an Apollo Twin, and the Apollo Twin is set at about 80%. So let's try plugging in the CL-1 Cloudlifter here and see how low I can put my gain on my Apollo after plugging it in. So this is the SM7B with the Cloudlifter plugged in and the phantom power on the Twin turned on. So I've had to turn the gain on the Apollo Twin down to 40% because it suddenly became a hot mic. So 40% on the Apollo Twin as opposed to 80 when I didn't have the Cloudlifter. How's the noise? Okay, so this is the Shure SM57 plugged in without the Cloudlifter. The interface is currently sitting at 75%. I had to actually turn it down a bit because the SM57 is a little bit hotter than the SM7B. So this is the sound of the SM57 at 75% on the Apollo Twin. Now let's plug in the Cloudlifter to see what happens. This is the SM57 with the Cloudlifter plugged in and the phantom power turned on to power it all up. We're at 30% on the Twin. So that's considerably less. And even right now, it's a little bit hot. So I'm staying a bit away from the mic, and I'm hoping I'm not peaking anywhere, but that's where that limiter is going to come in and chop off those peaks. So this is the Cloudlifter on an SM57. Okay, so now this is the Shure SM58 without the Cloudlifter plugged in, and I'm sitting currently at 75% on the Apollo, which is the same amount of gain that I had on the 57 and 5% less than when it was on the SM7B. So this is where it's sitting so I can get a good hot signal. Okay, so let's try the SM58 with the Cloudlifter. Well, that went down considerably. I'm currently running at about maybe 30%, amazingly enough, on the SM58. So I'm sitting at just a little over 30%. That's where I'm sitting, so that's considerably lower. How's the noise? It's really giving it some kick. So there you go. You got to see it in action. Analysis. Okay, so I first bought this Cloudlifter a couple of years ago when I picked up the Electro Voice RE320. I thought I'd need a good boost for a special podcast I was doing at the time. Back then I was using a Scarlett 8i6 3rd Gen interface. Not the greatest preamps in the world. As it turns out, I didn't really need the Cloudlifter at all. I was able to just turn up the preamps and use a denoiser plugin to clean it up in post. To be honest, it wasn't that noisy without the Cloudlifter anyway. But I discovered something else, though. I was getting more noise with the Cloudlifter than without. After playing around with where I was placing the Cloudlifter, I discovered that the noise was possibly not line noise, but rather RF interference, or at least it seemed like that. I use a Furman power conditioner for my connected audio gear, so it wasn't dirty power or anything. Someone told me it was the XLR cables I was using at the time. Poorly shielded cables. So I bought better shielded cables. But still, it had the same problem. It was suggested to me by some other professionals that I should use Mogami cables in order to ensure proper shielding and maximum sound quality. So I went to my local music store and then came home and put the Cloudlifter on the shelf and did not buy Mogami cables because I wasn't prepared to spend upwards of $170 for a 15-foot XLR cable. So I guess I'll never know. Here's what I do know. I didn't have RF, dirty line noise interference issues without the Cloudlifter. So whatever's happening, it's being caused in part by having it connected. If it really is the cables, then that $200 price tag just became $540 due to the need for 2 Mogami cables to run it. Hell no. Perhaps the unit I received is faulty. I have no idea. But by the time I really dug in to figure this out and figure out what was going on, it was too late to get my money back, so I was out of luck. Do I recommend the Cloudlifter CL-1? No. No, I don't. Even without the RF interference, I think you can do without it in most situations. And given the price, if you really need one, your money would be much better spent on an outboard preamp processor with other abilities, like the DBX2H6S, which is about $100 more, but features 60 decibels of gain, a compressor, a de-esser, a sonic enhancer, an expander gate, and it looks cool because it's a rack with lots of buttons, lights, and switches. But you know what? There are so many other devices you can choose that you can get more for your money than spending it on this. This does feel pretty well built, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary most of the time. Or maybe check out some other inline preamps like the Fethead or the SE Electronics Dynamite. Much cheaper and seem to do the exact same thing. Sorry, Cloud Microphones. Well, that'll just about do it for us here at the TPS. Go f*** yourself, San Diego. Bye now. End transmission.